Hey everyone, so in today's video I'm going to be doing a comparison between the RMS Un CoverUp and the Glossier Stretch Concealer. I've been wanting to do this video for a while now. These are two products that just from me personally, I've been wondering how they compare, how they relate, so hopefully this video is helpful. These are very similar, but I do hope that this video is helpful in a sense that if you have a different skin type, if you have a different preference, I definitely think that these two products are good for different people. So if you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see some of my other upcoming videos. I have a lot of really awesome ones coming up. The Glossier Stretch Concealer now has 18 shades. They previously, I feel like they only had like 5 or 6, but now they have 18. I have mine in the shade Light. This is my original, and then I recently picked up the G12 shade, which is the lightest shade, and that's the one that I'm wearing today. And in the RMS Living Luminizer, I have the shade 00. The RMS has 16 shades. The shade ranges are pretty comparable. I would say I feel like the Glossier Stretch Concealer has a better shade range for darker skin tones. Getting into the price point, so the Glossier Stretch Concealer is 18 and you get 0.17 ounces, whereas the RMS you get 0.20 ounces, and this retails for $36. So a significant price difference here. Even though you do get less product with the Glossier, it still is more competitively priced. So let's talk about the formula, because the formula really is what I was most interested in when I was comparing these two products, when I've been thinking about picking up the RMS, because I do feel like these two products are very unique in and of themselves. I think a lot of pot concealers have the reputation of being very, very waxy, hard to blend onto the skin, and both of these products have definitely flipped that notion on its head. They are much more emollient and hydrating under the eyes and on the skin. So putting that aside, I like both of these very much because of that. I have dry skin, so I like something a little bit more emollient under my eyes. I would rather have a little bit of creasing than a lot of crepiness. So I will say, like, first off, if you are looking for a very budge-proof concealer with a lot of coverage, I don't think either of these will work for you. If you're looking for this application method, I would go with the NARS Soft Matte if you do want pretty full coverage and a little bit more of like a matte finish. These to me are great for everyday natural makeup. If you're looking for a light coverage concealer that will not make your under eyes look dried out and cakey, both of these, in my opinion, are great options. So these are like very, very similar. I don't know if you're like this. I'm definitely like a nitpicker with my makeup, and especially under my eyes, because I do have dry skin. My under eyes are often dry and they're pretty sunken and dark just hereditarily. So under my eyes, I like the makeup to look fresh. I would rather a little bit of darkness shine through than my under eyes look very, very cakey and just unnatural. So let's start off with the RMS. So this product immediately to me is a little bit less emollient than the Glossier Stretch Concealer. The RMS to me gives a little bit more coverage immediately, and it's a little bit less emollient. It still has some blendability, and on the fingers it does have a slip, but it doesn't feel like it's just going to slide off of the skin. I like it for that reason. I like that it gives pretty quick coverage immediately. You'll see in the demo that I throw up now, you can see that the coverage goes on really nicely. It is very blendable between the fingers and it goes really nicely under the eyes. I do think that if you were to build this up too much, it would start to look a little bit heavy. This is a light coverage concealer. You're not going to get more than light coverage out of it. I don't think you necessarily need to go in with a light hand or anything. If you're one of those people that likes to build up a concealer, this might not necessarily be for you. I have to say that under my eyes, it looks nice. It's just a natural, nice concealer to wear for every day. I've talked about my holy grail concealer over and over again. That's the Maybelline Fit Me. That to me is the perfect match between coverage and overall like hydration under my eyes. But if I want something with like this a little bit less coverage under the eyes, something to just like pat under the eyes, into the skin, and be on the go, I think that this is a really nice option. Now moving into the Glossier Stretch Concealer. This one I feel is a little bit more emollient. Neither of these feel oily, by the way. They do just feel like very hydrating. It's easy to compare, you know, these two products to each other, but it's hard to compare other concealers to these just because they are, in my opinion, a little bit more unique. This, to me, gives a little bit less coverage than the RMS, but it goes under the eyes and I think it blends out a lot easier than the RMS. Granted, both blend out very nicely under the eyes. I think with the Glossier Stretch Concealer, you might want another layer and want to build this up a little bit more. But like the RMS, I don't think that the Stretch Concealer builds up well either. So I would, again, recommend just going in as you would normally rather than, you know, trying to make the product what it's not. It's funny. I think that the Glossier Stretch Concealer goes on a little bit more light coverage. So immediately on my face when I apply them, I tend to prefer the RMS because it gives me a little bit more coverage, but I prefer the way that the Glossier Stretch Concealer wears. So I think it is a little bit of a toss-up here. I like the RMS and the coverage, the way it looks under the eyes. The Glossier is a little bit less coverage. To me, it does crease a little bit more, but over time, throughout the day, I feel like the Glossier does not look cakey or drying under the eyes. And I feel like the RMS doesn't necessarily look dry at all, but sometimes with a more emollient product, it can settle a little bit more into fine lines or any like scaliness under the eyes. Like I said before, both of these products crease. I'm not really annoyed with creasing. I'm more annoyed with like the settling of a product that makes my eyes look like crepey. So I think there is like a difference, at least on my eyes, I see a difference. When a product is creasing, it can still look hydrating. You can tell that I'm like nitpicking because these both are nice and they're so similar to me. I wouldn't say they're dupes because I can see a difference between the two, but like, it's really close. They're so similar. If you prefer a very hydrating concealer for everyday wear, a quick on-the-go product, I would go with the Glossier Stretch Concealer. If you're not worried about having a lot of coverage, if you want the skin to look good all day, because there's no way that this concealer could ever look super drying. It's just not going to happen. Again, unless you try and build the shit out of it, it will start to look weird. I would recommend the RMS if you're someone that likes to just have like green, clean beauty all the time. You're willing to pay a little bit more money for it and you want a little bit more coverage. So like for example, if you want full-on makeup look that is green beauty and you're not worried about how much money you're spending on it, I think that this is a good option. It's going to give you a little bit more coverage and you do need less product with this. Being said, like in my everyday wear in my makeup bag, these to me are interchangeable. I'm not necessarily going to gravitate towards one or the other for any specific reason. I think if I'm having like major textural issues, I'd probably go with the Glossier, but it is nice even on a natural day to put on something like the RMS and get a little bit more coverage and kind of be out the door. So I've been wearing these concealers for a while now. So I'm gonna zoom you in so you can kind of see how they're looking on my eyes right now. See if you maybe see a difference. So this is the RMS and then this is the Glossier Stretch. So you can see like side to side, I feel like this does give a little bit more coverage. You can tell that they both crease a little bit, but like if I didn't tell you that I had two different concealers on my eyes, would you be able to tell? Like I honestly don't think I would. Let me know down below, are there any two products that you've been wondering about that you would like to see me compare? I would love to do that video, and make sure to subscribe if the video was helpful. Give the video a thumbs up and I will hopefully see you in my next one.